Good morning, everyone. It is Susannah Birch here with you today, and we're going to get started on the webinar. So, big hello and a big welcome to everyone, including those watching live right now, and everyone who watches along later. Now, if you are here live, feel free to pop any questions into the chat box as we go, and I'll answer them if they're relevant to that section, or at the end, I'll do a Q&A as well. So welcome to this session. We are, of course, discussing LinkedIn, one of my two favorite platforms. The other one is Twitter, but we are going to take a deep dive into LinkedIn and some ways you can really utilize it for your business. So let's get started. So a little bit about me. So I work for Business Station and I do webinars on a range of digital marketing topics. Now, Business Station offers federally funded mentoring, and that's just $44 for 3 hours of one-on-one sessions and lots of webinars you can access, like this one for small business. So I have been with Business Station for over a year now, but it is certainly not my first foray into doing fun things on the internet, and that's why we're talking about LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I have over 20,000 connections, and I've been building that over the years, and it's been a great networking tool for me and many of the businesses I've worked with. I've been in the digital marketing space since around 2009 when I first started a website. First started writing online, blogging, growing businesses, and so on. And I also studied marketing and journalism, which are great in theory, but nothing really compares to getting out on the internet and learning how to do it yourself, testing things and seeing what works for your specific niche and your community. So I'm a digital generalist, which basically means if it's on the internet, I've probably tried it or I know how to make it work, and I love trying out new things. So this webinar was originally 2 hours, so I've pushed it into hopefully around an hour for this version. Hopefully we'll get through it all, so let's dive in. So today's topics, what are we going to cover? We are going to, of course, talk about what LinkedIn actually is, because it has changed a lot over its history. Optimizing your LinkedIn profile, which is basically your business card for LinkedIn. Building your network, because if no one sees you, it's not going to be very useful. Building a company profile, because just like sites like Facebook, you can have a separate page just for your company. Building LinkedIn relationships, because, well, business is all about word of mouth and relationships. And talking about LinkedIn post content, creating content that's going to work with people and attract them to your voice and your brand, and isn't just sales, which is something you shouldn't be doing on social media, because people come there to be educated and entertained and don't just want to be sold to in most cases. So, what is LinkedIn? The big question, huh? Hopefully most people here have a LinkedIn, and if you are here with me live, feel free to share your LinkedIn profile in the chat box as well. So a little bit about LinkedIn. It's now 19 years old. Can you believe it? And the primary demographic is 25 to 34-year-olds. So if those are the people you're targeting, it's definitely the best place for it, although there are many other niches and demographics on there as well. There are 12.7 million Australians using the platform, so there's a good chance your customers are on there. And marketers are seeing a 2 times conversion rate on LinkedIn for their target demographics if they are on the platform. So it is one of those platforms that is really underutilized in business, but when used right, it actually is way better for getting sales than something like Instagram or Facebook, especially if you're in certain niches such as business to business. So another random fact, and good to know if you have staff, 30% of the average company's engagement on the platform is from employees. So if you do have employees on LinkedIn, make sure they're engaging with your page, make sure they're listing their your business on their page, and so on. And another interesting fact, if you're in the recruitment space or anything around employment, then there are 49 million weekly job board users. So there are that many people both listing jobs and searching for jobs on the platform. So it really is one of those places that many people are searching for their next role. So, LinkedIn activities. What is the purpose of LinkedIn? Well, big one is professional education. People go there to get information from other people, either in or just outside their network, who have interesting viewpoints, who are maybe ahead of them in business, almost in a mentoring role, and gather all these interesting pieces of information. It can be related to something they've learned, or it could be a new update in the industry, and so on. Reaching decision makers is a big one, because you've got a lot of people on there who are in management roles, or CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, and so on. So people who make decisions in a company. And business to business networking, because of that, is of course a big thing. So if you're looking to connect with people who are on there regularly, business to business is huge, because everyday people who just have a job they go to and aren't really looking to transfer jobs or market their business or connect with other business owners aren't going to utilize it as much as someone who's a small business owner who wants to learn more about their industry and who wants to market and grow and build. So definitely business to business is a huge part of LinkedIn. Now, another one, of course, is searching for new job roles, new employees or clients. So people use the site for all those things regularly. I know I've got a couple of different jobs from LinkedIn myself. It really is an amazing place for anything to do with business. So, what industries are we expecting to see on LinkedIn? Of course, there's going to be people from every single industry, but some industries are definitely better represented than others. So, information technology and services, so all the IT companies, they're a huge niche in there, and that's probably also including some big software companies as well, startups, that kind of thing. Now, you've got hospital and healthcare. So if you're in that niche, there are a lot of doctors on there and nurses and people in private practice and so on. Construction is a big one. So especially larger commercial construction, you'll find a lot of the people who are estimators, project managers, supervisors, and up from those roles use LinkedIn regularly to connect. Another one is retail, education management. So people in the education space, financial services, accounting, computer software, which can also link into that IT space, and higher education. So academics and researchers are a big niche on there. And a bit surprisingly for me is automotive. So anyone in the car space, that might be mechanics, that might be someone building cars or EVs working in manufacturing, but that's number 10 on the list of one of the biggest demographics there. So if your business is in any of these demographics, it's definitely a site you should be working with regularly. So we've talked about a bit about what LinkedIn is, but what about you on LinkedIn? Now that's very important, and the most important part of that is building your personal profile. So your personal profile is the profile you sign up with, the one that has your name and your photo on it, which is different from your company. So it's important to really work on building a profile that grabs people, especially in the first few lines and photos, because that's what they see first before they deep dive any further and want to learn more about you. So you've got to really think about at the top of your profile, what are people seeing? Make sure you fill in all the relevant areas that are suggested by LinkedIn, and make sure you have great images to tell your story. So although sometimes we're not all great at photos, if you are going to, if you don't say have a professional photo, at least if you can get a friend to take a nice photo, don't just have like a bad angled selfie or something like that, or one where you've taken one photo out of a group shot. I've seen that happen a lot, where people just kind of crop other people out of the photo and it looks a bit weird. So just having that one good professional photo as a first impression can be amazing in changing how people perceive you on LinkedIn. So as you can see, here is one of one of the people I work with, Lisa Clark, who also works at Business Station. Yeah, and as you can see, she's got a nice professional photo and a great little cover photo there as well, and a great little bio. So immediately you're connecting with her, you know who she is, you see her color scheme, what she does, and so on. So there are a few different areas you can work on optimizing first to draw people in, and that's obviously your photo for the first impression, the headline, that first sentence that people see. So in this case, it's creative social media marketing, business people, connector in Toowoomba, and local digital community creator. So this is a place where you can list your different roles or your different passions, or you can also list what problems you're solving. And the reason this line, the headline, is so important on LinkedIn is whenever people are seeing a preview of your profile, the only things they'll see are your photo and the start of that little headline. So those are literally the first impression of you people will receive. So it's definitely important to make sure you get those parts right. And of course, the about section. So further down, you have an about section that you can fill in as an overall biography of you as a person. So you've got those parts there and you've added some jobs, but there are some other things you can do to optimize your profile as well. Yeah, and it really comes down to the more content and the more flow you have and the more storytelling, the more people are going to see you as a holistic person, as part of your business, and really want to connect with that. So you can add a profile video. There's an option to add that. You can add either one where your profile photo is. You can do a little short intro video. You can also add one further down in the about section, which is a featured video link. Name pronunciation. And here's something a bit cheeky a lot of people are doing. Instead of just adding your name pronunciation, you can turn that section into a recording of a small pitch about your business. So, hi, I'm Susannah. I help small businesses level up their digital marketing. You can make that your little name pronunciation instead of just having it as your name. Turning on creator mode is another great way of optimizing your profile. Creator mode just gives you a few more features, including listing the hashtags that you're most interested in engaging with, showing your followers very clearly on your profile, and a few fun features like that just take your profile to that next level. And you can also do recommendations or testimonials on other people's profile, which encourages them to leave one on yours. And just imagine, say you leave a recommendation for someone who is really well connected in your community. Anyone visiting their profile will see you recommended them, and they'll check out your profile. So you're building that connection by recommending others and appearing on their profile. Yeah, so there's lots of different ways to utilize LinkedIn and connect that way as well. Yeah, and definitely not least, even if it is last on this list, is including a cover photo of you doing what you're best at. So as you can see here, I have a photo of me doing a workshop, and that's something I love doing. Hey, I'm here, aren't I? Yeah. And in workshops, I help educate people on marketing. So I've got a photo of me doing that. So if you're in a certain industry, see if you can get someone to take a photo of you doing what you do best, whether it's making cookies or installing a light bulb. See if you can get a photo of that and put it as your profile cover photo. So we've talked about optimizing your profile, but what about building your network? So that is, of course, an important step as well, because if no one sees your profile, it's no point if you're going to optimize it because no one will see it, right? So LinkedIn is definitely about networks and connecting with people. And a big part of that is don't just go willy-nilly and add every person. Don't accept everyone either. There are a lot of people out there who are spammy salespeople, and as soon as you accept them, they will A, harvest your email and put on their email list, and then B, send you an annoying message on LinkedIn going, hey, here's an automated message saying, I want to sell you something amazing. Let's do a virtual coffee. And many times it's not targeted to you and your business at all. It's just a copy-paste message. So don't expect that you need to add every single person who tries to send you a request. Just accept the ones that you think are relevant to you and building your personal network. Definitely know your target demographic. So this is something you should have as part of a marketing or business plan. You'll be able to figure out, hey, what's the average age of the person who is my ideal client? Are they male or female? Are they working in this industry or that industry? Am I selling to the person themselves, or am I selling to someone who's going to gift it to someone else? So there's all these questions you can ask. So get your ideal client. Are they the ones who spend big, or are they spending a small amount every year over 10 years? You got to think about it in terms of the longevity of the relationship as well. And so build slowly but regularly. If you are going out there and adding tons and tons of people on LinkedIn, you will get this message going, hey, do you know these people? Maybe you should slow down a little. So don't go and just connect with everyone. And the other thing to keep in mind is if too many people click, I don't know you, when you connect with them, you can end up with like a soft ban from LinkedIn going, hey, we're not letting you add anyone for a while. We feel like you're adding people you've got no relation to at all. So it's better to add people who you have mutual connections with at least. So you've already got some overlap in your networks, even if you don't know that person directly. So don't be spammy, build thoughtfully and with targeted demographics in mind. And the other thing to keep in mind is, yes, you can add people you don't directly know because people are less private on LinkedIn. So over on sites like Facebook, people are very big about their boundaries and privacy walls. LinkedIn is a lot more open because you don't share as much personal information. So people are looking to build their networks, but again, just make sure they are in some way related to what you're doing, have some interest in you. Don't just add them willy-nilly. But don't stress about adding someone that you don't directly know, as long as they're in your target demographic and you can make a strong connection with them. So connecting with new people, well, there's a big thing I have for searching for new connections, and that is using the search functionality. Now, the search functionality on LinkedIn is actually pretty cool because it really allows you to narrow things down. It can unfortunately be a little glitchy if you try and narrow down too far, and I've heard a few reports of this, and supposedly the LinkedIn team are working on it, but the last I heard was over 6 months ago, so we'll take what we can get, LinkedIn. As you can see here in this demo, I typed in the word marketing in the search, and from there, I can narrow that down. So I can choose from people or companies or posts and other options. So in this case, I wanted to search people with the word marketing in their profile. Then I can choose the connection level. So first level is people you're already connected to. Second level is people you've got a mutual connection with. And third level are people you don't have any mutuals with. It means they're a few steps outside your network. So generally when I'm looking to connect with new people, I look for second level connections because I know there's already a little bit of overlap in our network. And you can, of course, add things in like the location. In this case, I've put in Toowoomba. And if you really want to narrow it down, you can narrow it down by things like our company. And there's a few other fun things you can play with as well in the filters. But definitely do take advantage of all those ways of optimizing your search through LinkedIn search filters. So we've talked about building your personal profile, which is an important first step. But of course, you're probably asking, what about company pages? What about building your company? So on LinkedIn, your personal profile is very important because people connect with people, but you can also connect your company page into that. So 30% of company page engagement is from staff, as I pointed out earlier, and a big part of that is making sure that your staff are actually listing their job role and their company on their profile so people can check it out from there. So over on the left, you can see some examples. I've got Eat Digital and Business Station, and both of those link directly to the company pages for those companies. Now, the way you can tell if the profile links to the company page is if you've got the logo. If it doesn't have a logo there and just has a grey box with little other grey boxes inside it, that means you've not directly linked to the company page. And this is something where you can give your employees a nudge and just be like, hey, make sure you've updated your job role to link directly to the company page. Building your profile is definitely key to building your business and helping your staff build their profiles as well. And people buy from people. So having all your employees on LinkedIn, even if they're not regularly posting, just adds that authenticity to your business. So whether you've got employees or a co-founder, anyone else who's working in your business in some way, having them all on LinkedIn shows you're an active company, shows you've got people involved, shows that you're actually out there building your brand as well. So another fun fact about building your company page is once you've built it and linked it to your profile and so on, you can invite anyone who is a connection of your personal profile to come and like your business page. So you go to your business page on LinkedIn, and at the top right, there'll be something called Admin Tools. And in Admin Tools, you can click on the first option, which is Invite Connections. And now, Invite Connections allows you to invite up to 100 people every month that you're already connected to personally and invite them over to like your page. And now, like every platform, not everyone's going to like your page, but it is a much faster way of getting followers than just waiting for them to find you or resharing content or having it linked on your profile. So don't be afraid of going in there and inviting relevant people from your personal connections and inviting them to join your company page's journey. Quick, easy to do. I usually do it once a month, and it's a good way to build. Now, another one, as we mentioned earlier, employees are one area of LinkedIn that engages a lot with company pages. And you've actually got an option over on your company page. Over on the left, halfway down, you've got the option Notify Employees. So you can actually ding anyone who has your company listed as their employer on their profile. And you can give them a ding that you've done a new post on the company page. And then that means they'll easily be able to go and like that post and engage with it, which is a fun feature that LinkedIn only rolled out maybe a year or so ago, but I like it. You've also got the listings on your business page of trending content from employees. So what that means is whenever someone does content that's related to your company, because as an employee, it will actually coming up on your page as well to show what staff are doing from your business, which gives some fun overlap and shows really the authentic people side, like what are your staff doing out there, not just company updates. So it's great if you do have staff using the platform. Now, last but not least is LinkedIn events. They only rolled these out a couple of years ago. They were a little behind Facebook when it came to events, but they've done a great job of putting these on the site as well. Now, you can run an event on LinkedIn either hosted by you as a person on your personal profile, or you can run them through your company page. Now, no matter which way you run it, you have the option to invite your connections. Now, I believe last time I checked, you can invite up to 1,000 connections to a LinkedIn event per week. So it's up to you how many you invite. But remember, the big part is making sure you're inviting people who are the target demographic for whatever the event is. For instance, if the event is an in-person event in Brisbane, you don't want to be inviting people who are your connections from over in Perth, because there's probably a good chance they won't be able to make it. So really target the people you know are going to be your target demographic for whatever it is you're running. However, LinkedIn events are a good way to connect. They're similar in many ways to Facebook events with a few small quirky differences. There's things such as featured speakers, so you can actually nominate people who are going to be speakers at an event and list them on the event, which is a fun way of doing things. But overall, they're another good opportunity for you to connect with people if you're in the event space. And it's generally when I run events, and I actually run a webinar on how to promote your events online through Business Station. When I run events, one of the things I do is make sure I've got a Facebook event, and I also make sure I've got a LinkedIn event. And it's a great way to reach people who may not be directly connected with you through LinkedIn, and a different demographic again than Facebook in most cases. So the next step, well, that's building relationships. So we talked about setting up your profile, setting up your company page and getting people to engage with that. But another big one, of course, is building relationships, which is what LinkedIn is all about. So you can do all these steps to optimize and make things, but if you're not building those relationships, you are going to miss out on a big facet of LinkedIn. So here are some do's. Do connect purposely. Make sure you're connecting with the right people. Don't be scared of connecting with people who intimidate you a little, or you feel are higher in business than you and you go, oh, I don't know. I don't think I'd talk to them in real life. I'd be a little scared. Don't be afraid. Take that step. Send a quick message when you do connect saying, hey, my name's Susannah. I've seen your posts before. I find your content really interesting. I'd love to connect and maybe learn more about you. Something simple. Connect with them, personalize it, build that relationship. Definitely personalize your message. Engage with posts of the connections you value. So say there's someone you've connected with and you really want to build that relationship. You don't have to be spamming them all the time or targeting them specifically. But you can leave a message that's valuable on their post. So say they posted about an event at their workplace, you can say congratulations, or you can make it more in depth and talk about your experience there, or talk about their previous role and how it relates, or whatever is relevant to the post that adds value to their post. And so think about how you can engage with them, because it's all about top of mind awareness. So what top of mind awareness is, when someone has a problem, who's the number one thing or person they think of as a solution? So, for instance, say you're hungry, top of mind awareness may make you think of the last place you ate or the last place you saw advertised. It might be McDonald's, it might be a local restaurant. Whichever way it is, your brain automatically thinks of a particular brand or person. So the same goes here. If people see you regularly engage with their content, next time they have a thought about your industry, or say they've got an opportunity for someone in your industry, they go, oh, who's the first person I think of in that industry? This person over here, because they regularly engage with my content. And another big one is take important relationships real well. Don't be afraid to send a message to someone where you see collaboration opportunities and just go, hey, would it be okay if we caught up for a coffee? Or if they're in a different location, could we do a Zoom call? Because I'd like to discuss some things with you. And don't make it spammy and salesy. Just talk about where the overlap is. I know I personally on LinkedIn get a ton of messages that are very generic, and they're like, hey, let's talk about me selling you an ebook or writing you content for your site. And I go, well, I don't want to buy an ebook, and I really don't need content written for my site because I'm a copywriter, so I do that myself. So those are examples of them trying to connect with me in areas I don't need them. But if someone said to me, hey, I see you're in marketing and I know you really love doing Twitter, could we maybe catch up and I could pick your brain about Twitter and we could discuss it? I'd jump at that because I love talking about Twitter and new ways to use it. So really look at how you and the person have overlaps and how you can collaborate or catch up. And make sure you're targeted in how you do that catch up, so they don't just see it as some spammy way of selling them something. Now, some don'ts as well. There's always don'ts, but big one, and I have stressed this throughout the webinar, don't add people at random. Not only do you run the risk of LinkedIn stopping you connecting with people as much, it also means that when you are posting content, if random people aren't engaging with it, LinkedIn sees that as a sign that you don't have very good content, and it won't show it to as many people. So the more people that connect with your post in the first hour after you post it, the more people will see that post over the next few days. So if all the people you add don't engage with you because they're not interested in what you post, that's going to actually lower your reach, not actually raise it. So make sure you're connecting with people who are really targeted and will appreciate your content and connect with it and you. Don't spam people with great offers, please. I'm not kidding when I say I get probably 5 LinkedIn messages a week that are not targeted to me at all, not selling me anything relevant, where they've literally picked a company name off my profile and inserted in a random message. So make sure that if you are connecting, it is based on something that they really need and not a generic message. And don't syndicate across social platforms. Now, what I mean by this is don't post a Facebook link onto LinkedIn or don't post a LinkedIn link over onto Facebook. It's okay to post the same content to multiple platforms and maybe change them just slightly based on your demographic and who you're targeting. But don't go and share links between platforms because most platforms don't want you leaving their platform to visit another site. And most people don't want to click a link to go to Facebook because they're not on Facebook. They're on LinkedIn and they want to engage with the content on LinkedIn. So do make sure you're posting organically and natively to the LinkedIn platform. And another one is connecting across social platforms. Sometimes it's okay to go, hey, can we, catch up and connect on Twitter because we hang out there a lot and I know you post content there. But don't go and randomly find someone's name who's connected with you on LinkedIn and add their personal Facebook. Reason for this is because they are different demographics and they may use their personal Facebook very differently than they use their more public LinkedIn. And I've had this happen sometimes and people go, oh, I just added you on LinkedIn and you said yes, I thought I'd add you everywhere else. It can be a little creepy and invasive. Just because I said yes on one platform doesn't necessarily mean I want to be connected with you on every single platform I'm on. So don't invade people's privacy and try and go everywhere. It does feel a little creepy. Keep it on LinkedIn at least until you start building that relationship and they know you. So next one on the list is LinkedIn post content. Now, this, of course, is an important one because you can, again, build all the content you have on your profiles for your company and your business and your personal profile. But those are things that require other forms to really promote. And one of those big things is having great LinkedIn post content. So what I mean by that is posting content that's relevant to your business and also other people on the platform, which can be a little different than sites like Facebook. So one thing I really love about LinkedIn is their newsfeed. So LinkedIn is a little bit like Facebook was perhaps 10 years ago, back when you actually saw posts from your friends, when you actually saw relevant content. So things that aren't sponsored posts or suggested posts from pages you've never actually heard of and you don't really have that huge an interest in. So that's what I love about LinkedIn. They've got a great algorithm, at least to this point. Hopefully it stays like that. And you can really see engagement and growth based on how your connections connect with you and how they connect with their networks to open up yours. So for instance, here is someone from Business Station who did a post on a project they were working on 6 years ago, and someone else from Business Station celebrated it, and it came up with Kelby Williams celebrates this. Great thing about that is the fact that I wasn't as likely to see Jared's post originally, but because Kelby is also a connection of mine, LinkedIn went, hey, Susannah, we're going to put Jared's post in your feed because your other connection, Kelby, connected with it. So as you're first degree connections connect with content, it spreads it out to their network. So this is why it's so important to build your network. Because what happens is, say I connect with one person who has, say, 5,000 connections and I've only got 200. If I post content that only my 200 see, that'd be nice. Maybe 20% of them will see it. But if that one person with 5,000 connections engages with my content, that's going to have a chance of showing it to all of those 5,000 connections. So posting great content that gets engagement from other people with big networks shows it to a much wider network. So that engagement is really important because it's a great way to really get people paying attention to you and seeing your content and so on. So what kind of content should you be posting? Well, really, of course, depends on your business. How long is a piece of string? But there are a few key rules and ways you can optimize for LinkedIn. So a big one is storytelling. People love hearing a story, although what happens is there's a lot of jokes around about how people tell really feel-good stories. And there's a joke that goes something like this. There was a man who was going to a interview and he wanted to get this job really badly. And on the way to the interview, he came across a duck and the duck was really, really hungry. And he fed the duck some bread and he missed the interview because he was so busy looking after this duck. Then at the end of the story, it turns out that the duck was the interviewer. And so he got the job because it was all a test. And that is an example, that is a joke about how many of the stories written on LinkedIn for likes are created. They're all just a little bit ridiculous. And you'll see some of these sometimes, ones that are more clickbaity, where they just have a ridiculous ending that you go, hey, you know, the chance of that thing happening and making you look that good sounds a little too good to be true and pre-made. So when you're telling stories, don't try and write a perfect story with a perfect ending that you think people want to hear. Think about how you can share stories in a variety of ways that are authentic to you, your brand, your business, and who you are as a person. And they don't always have to be positive stories. It can be a bad experience you had as well and what your learning outcomes were from that. Or an experience you had with someone that just didn't turn out the way you expected or you were disappointed in the process. So my top story here that I got a great engagement with was a marketing sales guy rang me, cold called me and told me I was breaking the law on something to do with websites. And I immediately got my hackles up and I went, I deal with websites every day. What do you mean I'm breaking the law? And it turns out that he was trying to sell me a widget that would fix the problem, but he claimed that no other widget on the internet would fix the problem I allegedly had with the website. And I immediately knew that he was just trying to sell me something and trying to scare me into it. So the fact that I told this little story on LinkedIn got quite a bit of engagement of people going, hey, I've had something similar happen to me, or I can relate to that story, or yep, this is a great lesson. Don't do this to other people if you're in sales. Another one is video content. You can live stream on LinkedIn, which is a great way to engage with people. People love live streams. And if you are a little nervous about doing live video, I know a lot of people are. I was the first few times I did it, and then I kind of just do it a lot now. I don't know how that happened. But if you are nervous, a great way of doing it, I find, is to do an interview style. So maybe do, say, Zoom, or actually you can't do it through Zoom. You need to do certain third-party platforms such as StreamYard to do live video direct into LinkedIn. But what you can do is do a connection where they go on their computer, you go on yours, and you have an interview style. So if you suddenly run out of words or don't know what to say next, you can have a chat on screen about whatever your topic is, and then you might not be as nervous because you're not the only one on screen talking to people, which can be a little intimidating till you get used to it. So definitely experiment with live video. I believe you can get it on your profile as long as you sign up or creator. So it is pretty easy to get. It used to be limited and you used to have to apply for it, but now pretty much anyone can get it fairly easily. So if you're into live video, that's a great way to connect as well. And LinkedIn does push out notifications that you've gone live to your network. So it's a great way to engage because LinkedIn is like, hey, this person over here is going live. You should check it out. And you often get a lot more engagement that way, as well as people repeat watching after. Now, another one, of course, is photos. People love engaging with content that grabs their attention. But the weird thing is, although photos can work really great sometimes, storytelling without photos works often better on LinkedIn. So it's one of those things, it's going to depend on your demographic and the type of photo. But if you don't have photos, that's okay. If you're more of a storyteller and a writer, that can work just as well and get just as much engagement. So have a play around with both photos and without, and just see what kind of content works for your specific demographic. So as you can see here, I wrote a post with a lolly jar in it, and it got quite a bit of engagement because I was talking about the fact when I start a new job, I use a lolly jar to kind of do a bit of psychology to figure out the people I'm working with and how they react to chocolate, and how they engage with me about getting the chocolate is how I figure out how I'm going to work with them going forward. So that got some attention there because people went, oh, chocolate. I've got a photo over on the right. I went to an event wearing a red wig because my boss at one of the companies I was at had red hair and I had to fill in for him. So I went, hey, I'm going to be a redhead just like him, which got some great engagement as well because people are only used to seeing me as a brunette. Now, collaborations are another big one. If you're going to an event, if you're having a coffee with someone else in business, anything like that, grab a photo, grab a selfie of the 2 or 3 or 4 of you and post it onto LinkedIn and tag them. So tag their profiles when you post them in a photo. The great thing about that is not only are you creating great, easy content, you can also have their network engage with the photo because their network will see that they're tagged in your photo. So putting up those photos and talking about your collaborations with other business people is a great way to engage in new networks in your area. Now, another one is conversation starters, and this is also something where you can use polls. So LinkedIn has the option to do polls, so you can ask people a question, see what they vote. And people who don't see an option on the poll that satisfies them often will leave comments with their opinions because you know how it is on the internet, everyone has an opinion. So throw away an idea, throw away a question, even a problem you're having, something that'll start a conversation because people like to give solutions, people like to give answers, people like to give opinions. So anything where you're not sure of the answer and you want their input, put something up, put up a question and see how they react and interact. Now, big thing to keep in mind as well is if people are leaving comments on your content, go and reply to them because that will make the content get even more reach. So don't just go, oh, I've had 10 people comment. That's great. Go back and reply to those 10 people. Obviously, if it's just a comment like great or awesome, probably not a lot to do with that one. But if they've added their opinion or their thoughts or asked a question, go back and engage with them because that will give more reach for your entire post and your network as well. So do engage on those posts after you've made them. So what kind of topics should you post about? Well, there are a few different ones. Here are some of the ones that I see working best. Do post about career triumphs and changes. So if you're starting a new company, people love engaging with someone who they see, working their way up into a better career choice or a better pathway, or starting to study something. Have you just started uni? Have you just graduated from uni? People love to engage with the good things in your life and congratulate you, or they might see it as an opportunity to work with you in a new way. Things like that. So talk about those changes. Did you just get a promotion at work? Did you get started a new company? Did you just create a new partnership with another group? Something like that. Share those. business-related tips. If you've got a demographic who is very targeted to your niche, definitely share how they can be educated in that area. So say you've got a company around a certain topic, set up a LinkedIn post each week where you share a basic answer and around your industry. And a good place to get this type of content, I find, and this applies across all marketing for ideas, I always talk to the person who answers the phone. The reason for that is the person who answers the phone in your business is going to get the same questions over and over. And those questions, those burning questions you hear over and over on the phone, are the ones that people are really thinking about, really want answers to. So take those questions and use them for inspiration for LinkedIn posts. How can you educate people based on answering those questions? Another one is industry anecdotes. Did something fun or funny or interesting happen in the industry? Are there changes? Like, has something happened legally? Is there new rules coming in around a certain industry, or say employment, or something to do with how you purchase something? Discuss that. Start a discussion. Start talking about your opinions of the changes or how you're rolling out the changes. How are you making a difference with those changes? How's it impacting you and your business? People want to see how things are put into action. They want to see how other people do the same job. So the reason for this is often you engage in your job, and if you've run your own business particularly, you've never actually seen how someone else does it. So you've never actually seen, hey, does someone over here actually have a different way of solving that problem that I solve this way? So sharing how you do specific things in your industry can be a great way to both educate and engage and see how other people do things, which can be really fun. Do you post about events and networking? Yeah. People love to see people they know, kind of just like Facebook. They like to see people they know doing fun things together outside LinkedIn. So that can be posting about a networking event you attended, any kind of event or training or group thing you did. Post a photo, grab a photo, and as a rule of thumb in marketing, anywhere you go that could be business related, grab a photo of yourself doing it. Grab a photo of yourself, whether it's having coffee, at a new cafe that you're engaging with, whether it is chatting with someone in the industry, whatever it is, people love to see that. So really think about how you can grab photos that can be used in your marketing, and they don't have to be used straight away. So I did a post about one of the jobs I was at where I had been there for 2 years, which was a record for me because I do change management. I come in, fix lots of things up and make them great, put in systems and processes, hand them over to someone else and go fix another role. Yeah. And so I'd been at this role for 2 years, and I actually got the photo for it, which was late night. We were working on a tender till midnight, and we had coffee and snacks and everything. Yeah. And I had that photo from 8 months before, and I'd taken it and I was like, you know what? If I'm here for 2 years, this is going to be perfect. So take those photos, put them aside, and don't think you have to use them straight away. There might be a perfect opportunity for using that photo later on. Now, those are some do's, but what about some don'ts for posting? Breakfast and babies, please don't do that. That's a very Facebook thing. Yeah. And I don't think we all like it on Facebook either. Although it's lovely to see our friends' babies and occasionally see a delicious breakfast that we can't have because we're too busy working at whatever time of morning it is they went to that event. LinkedIn is very much about the professional side of things, and there's more there's less around your personal life. So because it's a very public place, people aren't generally sharing as much of their personal life the way they might on Facebook. So although sometimes it might be relevant to post about, say, a baby, say you're a working mum and you've just gone back to work and you want to post a cute baby photo with your baby to celebrate their 1-year birthday and how it integrates into your work life, make sure it's not just baby updates, because people don't come for those updates, or breakfast updates, or whatever it is that you'd probably share with your closer network as opposed to your wider business network. Definitely don't post content without consent, which goes for every platform. If you're having, say, a business meeting with a client and you take a photo together, it's going to feel a bit invasive if you're posting that to your all your social networks without actually asking their permission, and can make it them trust you a little less in the business relationship, wondering what else you'll divulge. So definitely don't post anecdotes or stories about clients or photos of them without their permission. Make sure you check with them. Say they've given you a nice testimonial by email. Just say, hey, is it okay if I share this with my social networks? Or I found this solution really interesting. Can I share it without using your name? Something like that. Just so they don't come across that story and go, hey, why are you telling about my personal details and problems and so on, just to make yourself look good. Don't share opinion rants. Especially if they're things like religion or politics, as the saying goes. Do be careful based on your network. Obviously, it's a wider network than you'd have on a smaller platform like Facebook, where you have more friends and close colleagues. And so if you are going to have opinions, make sure they're ones that aren't going to kind of stay with you forever. Make sure they're ones that are informed and you've got some information behind them as well, and they're relevant to your industry. And please don't post general clickbait or memes. You'll probably see some of these on LinkedIn. People will share something like, here's a disabled girl. She nearly died of cancer. Here is a photo of a painting she painted. Isn't it amazing? Please click like if you support this little girl. You'll see something like that, which might be a beautiful story, but the problem is they don't even know that little girl. They probably got a photo of her off Google and shared it on LinkedIn just to get likes. And those likes are vanity metrics. They might get 20,000 likes. Those 20,000 likes are never going to buy from them, never going to engage and build a relationship with them. They're just there for that story. So it's definitely vanity metrics and clickbait. And that isn't the kind of content you want to post if you really want to build that strong network. So memes as well. Occasionally, you might post a really funny meme, but post them sparingly and probably stick more with the personalized side of things, such as anecdotes, photos of you doing things, photos of your business, and so on. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about the type of content that you should be posting on LinkedIn. Now, another big one is hashtags. So hopefully you've come across hashtags before, probably on Instagram. That's where most people know them from, although they did start over on Twitter. Hashtags can be used on LinkedIn. Now, they're probably not ever going to be quite as big as Instagram, but they are a good way of really finding content that's relevant to you. And also helping other people see your content based on the hashtags you're using. So it doesn't hurt to add 3 or 4 hashtags at the bottom of a post. Say it's a business-related post that's specific to your small town. You might put hashtag Brisbane if you're in Brisbane. And then say it's specific to a certain problem. Say you're talking about HR in the auto industry. There might be a hashtag relating to HR or a hashtag relating to the Australian auto industry that you could then add to the bottom of the post just to increase your engagement in those select target areas. So hashtags are a great way to push your content out there just a little bit more. And sometimes if you've got good engagement on a post, LinkedIn will actually feature your post in a specific hashtag going, hey, this is a hashtag that lots of people engage with. It has this is a post inside a hashtag that lots of people engaged with. So don't be afraid of using a few hashtags on there. Just make them relevant to who you are trying to target. Don't make them too generic. But it's also a good way to engage with other people and leave valuable comments. So say you're in Townsville, you could go to hashtag Townsville, see what other people in the local area are posting under it, and then you could go leave a comment or a like and engage with people that way, just to once again build top of mind awareness so they remember seeing you and remember who you are and remember your name when they next run into you at a local event or on another platform. So that's why hashtags are a great tool to use on there as well. Just add a few at the bottom. Don't make it a whole spam thing with 30 like you might do on Instagram, but definitely add a few in there as well. Now, we've really powered through that. I'm proud of myself for cutting that down from 2 hours, but we have come to the end of the webinar. So As I mentioned at the start, I work with Business Station, and you can book in with me or any of our other advisors. We all have different digital specialty areas, and whether it's something to do with security, using business software like accounting software, data privacy, social media, digital marketing, anything like that, we probably have someone who can help. You can book in over on businessstation.link/Susannah. Direct with me if you want to chat about something I can help with, such as organic digital marketing, or just visit the businessstation.com.au website. Click on the Digital Solutions Program button in the top right, and you can sign up. So it's just $44, and you get 3 hours of one-to-one sessions with people like me. And those 3 hours don't just have to be with me. They can be with any 3 of our advisors. So you can choose different ones based on what areas you want to target and work on within your business. So definitely sign up if you haven't already. It is an amazing deal and lots of learning opportunities within it. Now we have question time coming up. So thank you for everyone who stuck around. I will answer a few questions on the recording from the chat. And then after that, I'll turn the recording off if anyone has any other questions where they want to go on video. So thank you everyone for attending, and let's dive into some questions. Is it a good idea to post in groups or tag groups in your post? Great question there. So LinkedIn groups are an area that does take a little more time investment. So yes, that was something I cut out of my original webinar. I would recommend absolutely finding 1 or 2 groups where you can engage with regularly, say industry-specific groups, the one that you think you're going to get value out of and add value into. Just like Facebook groups, it's important to make sure that you understand the rules and the voice of the group. Don't just go in there once a month and post something shouty and opinionated or salesy and then ignore it. If you are going to network in groups, make sure you're engaging with other content and posting content of value to that group and its demographic. Now, I probably wouldn't say tag groups in your post. I just post directly into the group if you've got something of value. But again, make sure you're following any rules the admin has set up about whether it's too salesy or too unrelated to the group. But yes, they can be a great way to build connections. Another question, is LinkedIn Premium worth it? Now, that is another of those questions where there isn't any straight answer, but I'm going to give you a little trick. Every single year, LinkedIn will allow you to have 1 month of premium for free. So you can sign up, and you do need a credit card to sign up, but it will be free for the first month, and then you can cancel before it charges you, and you can do that once per year. So it is worth doing that. I do it nearly every year. Just to I have a list of things I want to do with premium, and then I put them into action during that month. So it really depends how often you're using the platform and what your goals are. So for instance, if you're in recruitment, it might be useful because you can really go and find people suitable for the roles that you're trying to fill. If you're trying to get leads for a business, it can be very good because they've got the sales navigator where you can actually really dig deep into your connections and engage with them and do things in bulk. So it really comes down to how you're utilizing the platform and so on. So I'd say try out that free month and see if it's going to help your business. So it can be worth it. I know people who it's definitely worth it for. But yeah, try out the free month and see if it's for you. Okay, so thank you. Those are the chat questions. I might turn off the recording now if anyone wants to throw some more questions up and maybe share live. But thank you everyone for attending, and hopefully you enjoyed it, all those who are watching along afterwards. Thank you.